Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a lot to cover today, so we want to definitely make sure we maximize our time. So I just wanted to welcome you to our Spring 2023 JAMI Career Connect series. This is our March installment, and our topic today is global applications of your GSEP degree. My name is Yas Hardaway, and I'm the Executive Director of GSEP Career Services. And this is a partnership between GSEP Career Services and our Alumni Relations team. So some of you may be new to our JAMI Communities of Practice programs and may be wondering, what is JAMI? JAMI is a Swahili term for community, and our JAMI Communities of Practice programs are designed to provide up-to-date labor market information and help you expand your professional network. In the fall, we have moderated Q&A panels called our JAMI Career Webinar Series. And in the spring, we have interactive learning sessions through breakout discussions, and those are called our JAMI Career Connect sessions, which is what you are participating in today. So what do we hope that you gain from this experience? We have 3 learning outcomes that we hope that you gain. Number 1, to identify the next action step toward your career objective. Number 2, to gain relevant information about the current labor market. And number 3, to increase awareness of professionals from the Pepperdine community. Just a couple housekeeping items. This session is being recorded and you'll have access to it after the program. We do have our JAMI Career Connect Drive, and so you'll be able to see a list of our speakers and their bios, as well as a recording from today's session. We just won't be recording the breakout discussions. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Dr. Renee Dorn, the Director of Alumni Relations. Dr. Dorn?
Thank you so much, Yas, and welcome everyone to our JAMI session for today. It is always a pleasure for me to be able to introduce our wonderful alumni who are joining us for this session as our speakers for today. So our first speaker is Crystal Damondan, and she is one of our GSEP alums from TESOL program. So welcome, Crystal.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Crystal, at this time, could you tell us a little bit about your educational background and what you're currently doing with your career, or in your career right now?
Yes, so I'm an adjunct ESL instructor at 2 community colleges. I teach ESL. So ESL is English as a second language. I'm currently at one of my jobs right now. I just finished teaching the school that the school that I'm at right now is called Santiago Canyon College. It's in Orange County. And I also teach ESL at Santa Barbara City College, but that one's online. My educational background is I got my bachelor's in political science, law and society from UC Riverside. And I obtained my master's degree at Pepperdine in the TESOL program in 2020 during COVID. But yeah, that's what I do now is I teach. So I thankfully am in the ESL field.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Crystal, for being with us. And for those of you who are interested to hear more about Crystal and her background, don't forget to join her breakout room. All right, so our next speaker is Jean-Michel Habineza, and he is also another alum from the SEC program. So welcome, Jean-Michel.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here.
Could you tell us a little about your educational background and what you're doing today?
Well, first of all, I'm excited to be here. My name is Jean-Michel. I am currently in Rwanda, so it's about 10 p.m. here. A little bit about my educational background. I did my undergrad in international studies from Towson University in Maryland. And then I did my master's in social entrepreneurship and change from Pepperdine, graduated in 2018. And ever since that, I am the executive director and founder of I Debate Rwanda, which is an educational program for young people here in Rwanda. So we currently work with about 5,000 students from 115 schools in Rwanda.
Wow, that's a lot of schools. That's a lot of students. Well, thank you, Jean-Michel, for being with us. And once again, if you want to hear more about Jean-Michel and what he's doing, make sure to go to his breakout room. All right, next we have Sifokazi Joy Natheta and Dr. Joy, and she is an EDOL graduate from GSEP. So welcome, Dr. Joy.
Thank you so much, Dr. Renee. It's so good to be here again. I am dialing in from Johannesburg, South Africa this evening for me, actually.
Yes, yes. Tell us a little bit about your educational background and what you're doing in your career.
Of course. So I started my educational journey pursuing psychology and organizational and industrial psychology, to be specific. And that I studied at the University of KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa. And then after doing a bit of work in the management consulting and professional services space, I, after a few years, then decided to join Pepperdine in 2015, where I joined the Doctorate of Organizational Leadership at Pepperdine in 2015. I graduated in 2018. And that's when I joined Deloitte Consulting Africa as the chief of staff to the CEO there. But right now, I just recently founded the Nomalanga Tribe, which is a wellness startup organization that's focusing on helping leaders in Africa thrive. And it's an honor to be here and share more about the story of how I design programs, I coach, and I teach within the space. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joy. And if you want to hear more about what Dr. Joy is doing, make sure to go out to her breakout room. All right. And so our last speaker is Dr. Derek Pelland, and he is a double alum from GSEP with the SEC program and EDOL. So welcome, Dr. Derek Pelland.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for having me. Yes, so before I joined Pepperdine, I did my bachelor in education at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. But then I saw the sunny skies of LA and rushed out, joined the SEC program. It was wonderful, though about halfway through, I got a job working at the United Nations in Switzerland, so I moved and was a commuter from Europe to Pepperdine about 6 or 7 times a year. And like you said, I decided to continue into the Doctorate of Organizational Leadership program and found that the mix worked really well. I still miss coming back to LA so often. It's been a while, though I'm sure it's not changing too much. Right now, I work at St. Louis School in Milan. It's one of the top international schools in Europe. Though some of the things that I learned there at the SEC was, look, you have to find an example of something that you want to go after. And I found that in St. Louis, though I know I'm not going to stay here. In fact, I'm working with some partners to create my own international school here in Italy, incorporating boarding school from the middle and high school, and also creating an early year and elementary program. So It's quite exciting trying to actually put all of the studies into motion. Took a little longer than I thought, though I'm sure some of you could understand that it doesn't happen overnight. You have to sow the seeds, water them, and be patient. The patient part is what I lost track of. But now that I'm seeing it start to sprout, I'm more excited than ever and happy to talk to you about my project and your ideas for what you might want to get out of these programs.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Derek, so much. And if you want to learn more about what Derek is doing, make sure to go to his breakout room. So at this time, I'm going to bring all 4 speakers together. And I have a couple of questions for them before we go into the breakout rooms. All right. We're missing one more speaker, Jean-Michel. Oh, there we go. Okay. So the first question I have is, because you have worked, you're working internationally, or at least you studied that, what kind of resources can you tell us about, or that you would recommend for learning about opportunities overseas or international opportunities? Anybody can jump in with that one. So how did you know about the positions that you have overseas? How did you learn about that?
So for me, because I am in the ESL field, so my specialty is teaching English as a foreign language or a second language. And I knew that coming out of college, I wanted to teach English abroad. And so one website that was super reliable for me was the US Department of Education, because it's constantly updated with current information. And even now, if you look on their website, they have not only teaching opportunities, but also resources for how to get started in teaching abroad. You might need your visa, or you might need, there's certain rules you have to meet. And so
Right.
I would recommend that website, the US Department of Education.
Okay, that's a good resource. Very good resource. Now, Derek, you said while you were in the SEC program, if I understood you correctly, you got a job overseas. So how did you find out about that opportunity?
You know, really, it was by chance that spending time on various social sites, you know, oftentimes you may see applications out there. And I happened to find an application for UN jobs, and it was tailored at students who were either completing or close to completing a master's program.
Okay.
And I put in a long application. I had to submit some video interviews, but I'm sure things have changed since then. I think that now there's actually even more opportunities to find, but I think you need to target the region or the country, if not the city specifically, and start looking this way. I think you have to kind of hone in a little bit on where you're looking, and then have a little bit of luck as well.
So Dr. Joy or Jean-Michel, what about you with where you are today?
So, I mean, thank you, Dr. Renee. If I can just add to that, firstly, just in terms of what Derek mentioned along the lines of just keeping connected online, really just sort of attending all the spaces, the conferences, even especially right now, because the online just community is kind of really, look at us now having a conversation, right, and connecting. So there's lots of opportunity to just, through those touch points, really also pay attention when you're in those sessions and just really be engaged. And in most cases, I have hardly gone out to find jobs. They just find me doing what I love to do. And I suppose a big part of that is also just doing it before you even get paid to do it, and finding a way to also kind of I guess not really market, but tell the story and the narrative of the work that you do to people
Right.
that care about it. Because there's always someone listening. I always believe there's someone just waiting to hear what you can offer, what value you can add. But we need to find that sort of confidence to share our work, to talk about our work, to engage in the spaces that interest us, and start doing the stuff now. And it finds you sometimes. So a little bit of a different approach.
Okay, well, that's good to know as well. The conferences are very important. Thank you for that. Jean-Michel, within the SEC program, was there information that was given to you regarding maybe international opportunities?
I mean, everyone has to, unless it has changed, but I remember everyone had to do about 2 weeks in the global south. So they had to intern 2 weeks somewhere around the world. I think that's a great opportunity for students who want to expand their horizon. But one of the things though that I would also say is that having worked in the field, in the social sector on the African continent, there is a need for talent, and there is a need for people who sort of know how to do things. And I think that presents a great opportunity for master students, because you could, whatever you do well, there's always someone who needs that. And I think that the opportunity are immense. And just like the rest have said, I think conferences, LinkedIn is also a great
Resource.
It's great, great resource, because now you can, most people post their jobs on LinkedIn, and then just write to people. You never know. Just write to people. You never know who's going to respond.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So for each one of you, what is next for your career journey? Derek, you had talked a little bit about you wanting to start your own school. So we've heard a little bit from you, but is there anything else that you want to add to that?
Yeah, sure. So right now I'm in a very interesting position, because essentially I'm the boots on the ground in this place, though I'm working to find investors, putting investors with an existing school owner. So instead of starting from scratch, I found an existing boarding school in another part of Italy, and basically sweet talk them into coming up for a visit. And once I got them here for a visit, I convinced them that this place would be much better for their school. And so we're in the process of now convincing those families to have their children switch place. It's different from a normal school.
Okay.
Because they're not local. They live there for 8 months out of the year, and then they go home in the summer and at Christmas. So to change the venue from an all right place to a beachfront holiday town, I think it's going to be possible, especially for 14 to 18-year-olds to be in a more hip venue. Though right now I'm meeting with the mayor of the city. I'm meeting with the head of the church. I'm meeting with all different players, hotel owners, trying to get everybody at the table. Yes. And then it's fingers crossed that they can all eat together. It's a very fun but chaotic position to be at, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yes. Well, that sounds great. That sounds great. Keep us posted on that, as a matter of fact. So we want to know what happens. Crystal, what about you? What are your next steps?
So I just did a presentation on online teaching pedagogy a couple months ago. And so my hope is to present at more conferences, do more research, hopefully write and publish more articles. My colleagues and I are actually working on a piece right now on modern teaching pedagogy. So for example, the way that I teach is not the same way that my colleague teaches. So we all have different teaching styles. And so we're trying to compose something now where we're talking about different teaching methodologies, and hopefully write a book someday.
Sounds great. That sounds great.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Dr. Joy, what about you? What do you have planned next in your career? What do you want to add to what you're doing?
Just to add to Christy, to show that, or maybe to even inspire, I am one of the next steps for me in the next couple of months actually is to publish my first book, which has taken me maybe 3 years to write. But I feel so excited to get to the point of just the final editing, getting the forward finalized, and just getting it to market. And it's a book around leadership wellness. and just aligns to my mission of just helping to contribute, grow healthy people and healthy systems, which I think is a direct correlation. And in addition to the book, in the next couple of months, we are building an app. So it's a leadership wellness app. And within that app, you get access to global coaches, therapists, healers, even local traditional healers, something that hasn't been really done before, online on your phone. And you get leadership education, so certain programs that you can self-study and pace yourself on there. And then lastly, something I'm really excited about called an online psychological first aid kit. So before you get into formal therapy, what are some of the non-touch digital health solutions that we can pile up and help people just sort of lead their own healing within this app or application platform? So that's the second thing I'm really excited about. And linked to that and linked to the tribe growing as a startup is to really set up our leadership school with the faculty as well of a few signature programs that we've kind of looked globally at what the need is right now in terms of the rising challenges and signature design certain programs specifically for the African continent, but those leaders which have a global sort of outlook. So 3 major things keeping me busy, excited, frustrated, and everything in between.
Exciting though, so many new things that you have taking place. So that's wonderful. And then Jean-Michel, what about you? What is next for you?
I was going to say, commenting on Dr. Joy's statement, I was like, isn't that what leadership is all about? The excitement and then the frustration and then the excitement again. Yeah, so for me, I mean, I've been in building my organization for the last 11 years. So I am slowly transitioning out. I feel like I get excited about building things, and then when they require someone who is more structured and who has more management skills, I would transition out. So my target is this year to really slowly get out, build a team, put together all the, fine tune the structures, and then who knows what's next. Honestly, I said I will be faithful for what is, for what is right now, because I get excited about the next thing. But for now, I just want to finish well and really make sure that I set my team up for success.
All right, that sounds wonderful. Okay, at this time, I'm going to pass us back to Yaz so that we can go into the different breakout rooms. So Yaz, I'm passing it on to you.
Okay, great. I'll go ahead and remove the spotlights. Okay, well, hopefully that gave a little bit of a teaser from each of the panelists, and there's so much more to each of their stories. So I'm just excited for this opportunity to have more of these intimate breakout discussions. So just to share a little bit about what this might look like, you're going to be able to choose your own adventure, and you'll have an opportunity to go to 2 different breakouts. So after about 15 minutes, I'll give a signal and you can change rooms. If you have difficulty going into a breakout room or choosing a breakout room, just stay in the main room and we can help move you into the breakout room of choice. I do encourage you, if possible, to keep your cameras on. I think it allows for a little bit more of a personal connection. With that said, I recognize that not everyone is in the situation to do that. While you're in your breakouts, please feel free to ask questions that really help you clarify what's next for you or what those options and opportunities are from listening to someone else's unique journey. We do have some sample questions here if you want to take a look, but you're also welcome to ask your own. We just ask that you really share the space with others in the room so that everyone gets an opportunity to ask questions if they'd like to. And that might be helpful to use the raise hand feature so that the facilitator in your room can help facilitate those conversations. So without further ado, Franya, are we ready? Okay, so my colleague Franya will be opening up the breakout rooms, and you'll have an opportunity to choose which room to enter. And I will pause the recording at this point. The breakout rooms will not be recorded. Okay, welcome back, everyone. I just heard some really great conversations and some great questions, and I just wanted to thank our speakers again for volunteering their time to be with us today. It's for some of them, it's the end of their day and or in the middle of their workday, and so I think that the fact that you're volunteering your time to be with us today not only says something about your commitment to education, but who you are as people, and just know that your community really appreciates the wisdom and the honesty and the willingness to provide this mentorship and support to our community. So thank you so much. Okay, there were some questions regarding the Social Entrepreneurship and Change Program, the doctoral program in organizational leadership, and the PhD in global leadership and change. So we have invited our one of our enrollment officers, Ernesto, who is with us today. And he just wanted to introduce himself and share a little bit about how you can learn more about these programs if that's something that you are interested in. So Ernesto?
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, appreciate it. It's good to be here. And thank you for to our wonderful speakers. It was good to hear how they have been able to put, to work basically the SEC program and then the EDD program or the PhD program, and how they're changing the world, right, for the better. And that's what here at Pepperdine we like to do, right? To be the best in the world and to be the best for the world at the same time. And so to give more information for the SEC program, again, SEC is how it's the endearing term for social entrepreneurship and change. And that is a Master's of Art. I'm going to drop some information in the chat for you just now. There's a lot of links there that you can learn more for SEC. Really quickly to know about SEC, we start new cohorts every fall. We are currently enrolling for the fall 2023 cohort, which will start in September. The program is 20 months in length, and it's 34 units to complete. And if you are interested in knowing more about it, I'll be more than happy to talk with you a little bit more about the program. We will have an info session coming up next month. I dropped the link in the chat if you would like to register for it. They're completely free for you to come, and you can come to as many info sessions as you want. The program is now bi-coastal, so our panelists here didn't get to enjoy this part of the SEC program, but we're constantly innovating SEC. So now our students will meet twice in person per semester, and they come to the campus basically at the beginning of the semester. They meet at the West Los Angeles campus for 3 days in a row, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then the second time they meet in person is actually going to take place at the Washington, D.C. campus from now on. And again, our students will meet from Thursday through Sunday at Washington, D.C. And this will repeat every semester. So this is one of those newer additions we have implemented in SEC, because we want to make sure that our students have access to the West Los Angeles and the West Coast culture of entrepreneurship, but also that they're exposed to public policy and social justice issues and advocacy that's very much needed. And it's something that, Washington, D.C. excels at right over there. So those are some interesting things that are happening with SEC. We're about to start our 17th cohort, so we're going very strong with SEC. And so again, if you require more information, I'll be more than happy to connect with you. I'll be sure to drop in my information in the chat as well, so that you have it. But also so that SEC will allow you, for those folks that are interested in transitioning and getting that final or that that terminal PhD or EDD program, you will be able to transfer up to 6 units from your SEC program into the doctoral program of your choice. And again, we have 4 doctoral programs, 1 PhD in global leadership and change, and then we have 3 EDDs. And I'll make sure to drop in more information about those programs so that you can have the link and learn more about them in on our website. We are also going to be having an info session coming up next Wednesday, March 29th at 7 p.m. It's going to be virtual, online, just like you and I, we are all online right now. And so I highly encourage you to come to that info session as well. We usually have alumni from the program, we have current students from the program, and we also have the program chairs and directors coming to that info session so that our prospective students can learn more about the program and get all the information that they need to make the best decision moving forward with their academic steps. So any questions you may have, I'm about to drop more information in the chat for you, and I'll be happy to address them by email, or we can also schedule a phone call or a Zoom call anytime and point. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to working with you all.
Great. Thank you so much, Ernesto, for being here today. I'd like to make sure that you also are aware of some of the other resources that you have access to. So many of you signed up via Handshake. Handshake is Pepperdine's career portal. And on Handshake, you will find employment listings, career events like the one today, career resources. You'll also be able to connect to a peer network and then sign up for appointments, career design sessions, and document feedback sessions. So want to make sure that you know about Handshake. Students already have accounts. Alumni, if you graduated before 2018, you can register for account. Otherwise, you were transitioned to an alumni account. So want to make sure that you're aware of Handshake. Also want to those students, faculty, and staff to be aware that Pepperdine provides you with free access to LinkedIn Learning and Coursera. And so if you're trying to figure out ways that you can upskill, that you can add on additional competencies, taking courses through both of these platforms is a great way to earn digital badges or certifications to help add to your qualifications for your next step. And then I'll invite my colleague, Sophia, to talk about Pepperdine University's alumni tab. And then Osman will share examples of all of these as well. So Sophia?
Yeah, so I definitely recommend all of you to follow our GSEP LinkedIn page. There we'll post events like the one you're seeing today. And then in the alumni tab, you're also able to look at all of our alumni and able to search chief executive officers, anything that you find interesting in your field, and connect with our wonderful Pepperdine community that's always willing to help. So yes, I would definitely recommend for all of you to follow that. I'll go ahead and put it in the chat, and you can also follow our alumni LinkedIn group. So for anyone here that's an alum, there we post a lot of events and there's different initiatives going on campus. So I'll pass it over to my colleague Usman.
Thank you, Sophia. Hi, everyone. I'm Usman Khan. I'm here as the Career Design Counselor of our Career Services team, and I'm here to share our vision with DEIB as well as resources, as Yas mentioned. So our vision at Career Services at GSEP is that every graduate will have the clarity, confidence, and community to access, thrive in, and transform the future workplace. And as part of our diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging efforts, we're here committed to ensuring that each of you, including our students, alumni, have access to our resources and services from an equitable lens, and to also foster a sense of community and belonging for each of you by being able to honor each of your diverse backgrounds and identities. And as part of our resources today, we're sharing out alumni living outside of the US. We extracted this data information from LinkedIn itself, as well as courses on both Coursera and LinkedIn Learning that you have access to as a current student at Pepperdine, including courses that can expand upon your professional development, as well as understanding more about navigating career paths and being able to work outside of the US. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Osman. So we want to know what today's session, how that went for you. So you can use this QR code, or Franny will drop the link in the chat. And by filling out our survey, you are entered into an opportunity drawing to receive an Amazon gift card. So your feedback helps inform our future JAMI programs. So we would really love to hear how this session was for you today. We have one more JAMI Career Connect for the spring series on the C-suite pathway for education and psychology. So for those of you who are interested in advancing one day towards executive leadership, then this would be a great opportunity to hear from our alumni who have taken that pathway. As Sophia mentioned earlier, that we have a number of different GSEP social media channels, and I really encourage you to follow us on social media. It's a way for you to connect with others who have similar interests as you, who have similar passions as you, and so that it'll help you expand your own network within your field of interest. And Rania will go ahead and put in the chat the different links to our social media handles, including the LinkedIn alumni group that Sophia was referring to. So that is a wrap for today. Thank you all for taking the time to be here with us and your questions, your curiosity. We hope that this was helpful for you, and we look forward to seeing you in April. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.